I'm going to be showing you how to take the little seedlings that you've started and put them into their own cells. As you can see on some of them, I have just one or two that came up, but on some other ones, when their seeds were really small, I just sprinkled them on, and so I have lots and lots of them in each container. So I'm going to kind of show you two different ways that you can transplant your seedlings. So let's move these guys out of the way, and I'll show you what I use. Okay, there's just a few tools that you need to do this, and the first one is that you need something to put the seeds in. And I'm going to be doing two different things today. I'm going to be putting them in a 4-pack cell like this, and I'm also going to be putting a few of them in peat pots. I have some Tithonia, which gets very large, and I want it to be able to put on a good root system because I'm a little behind in putting in my gardens, and I want to give them extra time to grow. So you can put them in that. Tomatoes, oftentimes you have to move into 4-inch pots and even half-gallon and gallon pots before you put them in the ground, just to keep them healthy. And so this is what you'll need, and then you need a potting medium. And what I use and have found to be extremely, extremely good is coir. And this is just coconut husks that have been chopped up. You'll also need a way to mark them, so I have a Sharpie and I have some plastic tags, and you can use whatever tags you like. I haven't even found one that is like my favorite because they all seem to fade no matter what I do. By the end of the summer, none of them read what they used to. So I just have to kind of remember where everything is, but at least when I plant them, I know what I'm planting. And then you need some way to get them out of the little cells, and I use two tools for that. This one is called a nit picker. It's just a piece of metal. And what it does is it can go in and slide in around the edge, and then you're able to lift the plants out of them without damaging their roots. The other thing that I use, this is another real fancy tool, costs a whole bunch of money, is a chopstick. Just a regular old chopstick. And what I do this for is for my very small plants that don't have a very well established root system on them, I will poke a hole down into the core, and then I will ease the roots down in there and fill that in. Now you'll be able to see that as I work. So the first thing we need to do is to pick out which plants we're going to work on. And this is Tithonia. Tithonia, this is the one that I said I was going to put in the little peat pots. But the first thing I'm going to do is pop the Tithonia, at least two of them out of here, see how big their root system is, and then I'll know how much soil to put in here. So the way you can do that is you just squeeze the bottom a little bit to loosen it up. You can lift them out. Yeah, see, I figured these guys had pretty good root system. Can you see all the really nice roots on these? What I'm going to do, since there's just two of these in each cell, is I'm going to try to just pull them apart, keeping as much soil as possible from falling away from them. And you can see how tangled they are. There we go, got them apart. Okay, so now I know I need to fill the pot about halfway full, and just push that down just a little bit. It's just halfway full, that's it. Now, one important thing with most of your vegetables and your flowers is you don't want to plant them any deeper than they were coming out of the pot, because you have the opportunity to cause damping off or damage. So I'm just going to put that in there, and I've got it set so that I can have the top right at a little bit below the top of the pot so that I can water it. And then you just press the soil in. You want to press the soil in not super firm, but firm enough so that you're getting most of the air out of there so that you don't lose any of your roots, because air kills roots. That's it. One Tithonia down. One thing that you need to be very careful about when you're working with your seedlings is you don't want to grab them by the stem. The stem is very, very fragile at this point, and amazingly enough, picking them up by the leaves is much stronger than picking them up by the stem. So I'm going to kind of loosen this a little bit because they're all really close together. And then I just gently start pulling on one of them. Because again, I need to see, okay, I've got two of them here. So you'll get to see how they come apart. Come on, guys, and there we go. Now see, that's about how much of a root system from there to there. So I know that with these little guys, I'm going to be able to fill these up and use what's usually called the dibbler, but my chopstick, to poke my holes in them. So I'll just go ahead and fill these up. And then you want to kind of press them down in, not super, super tight, but enough so that they're, again, as I said, not too much air in the soil. Okay, this one needs just a little bit more. And then I take my chopstick, and all I'm going to do is just stick it down in there, and I'm going to make a little conical hole, one for each one of the four that will go in here. Show you how to do this. I've put the soil in, I've pressed it down so that it's kind of firm, and take the chopstick and I just go kind of around in a circle, so I make a smaller hole at the bottom and a bigger hole at the top. Now I have the 4 holes. Then I pick up my plant, holding it by the leaves, help guide the roots down into that hole. Start bringing some soil in around those roots. And then right where the white meets the green on the stem. And then firming it up all around. That's it. Bringing the plant out. Now you want to leave the roots exposed as little time as possible because the air kills roots. That's why roots grow in the ground. So there I am guiding the roots in. Right there is where all the roots start to come out. So I just bring that down to the top of the soil and start pressing it around. Now I'm seeing that I don't have quite enough soil in this one, so I'll put a little bit around him and then firm it up. And he stands up very nicely. Okay, I'm still working on the snapdragons, but one of the things I wanted to show you was I've put my holes in this. I don't know if you can see them, but there's holes right in the middle. You can see this goes all the way in. But now I've got a plant that I pulled out that doesn't have hardly any roots in it, and that hole is really, really too deep. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to take a little bit of this dirt and I'm going to fill that hole up about halfway. And then I'll be able to set the little seedling in there and its roots won't be dangling into airspace. These are some pepper plants. These are paprika peppers. Okay, I've got one guy here that's got a really hefty root system on it. Okay, so since he's almost a whole half of a pot, I'm going to take and I'm just going to go ahead and stick him down in there. Then I'm just going to fill in around. You can see I just pulled him out and I pulled his buddy off, so his buddy got about half the dirt and this guy got the other half. So I'm just going to fill in this hole over here with soil. I really do want to try to disturb the roots as little as possible. And when they're tiny and there's a whole bunch of them in there, there's not a whole lot you can do. So again, I'm just pushing that down, filling it in nicely. Ordinarily, I just do all of this in the pot, but I thought it would be easier for you to see what I'm doing by not having all those big walls up around it. Really hard to see what I'm doing then. Okay, so I have 4 paprika peppers here.